Now, some say that depreciation is a four-letter word. For car enthusiasts like you and I, we see it as an opportunity to buy vehicles that we never could have imagined owning new. And I can't think of a better example than a high mileage, abused, luxury barge from a German manufacturer that has too many modules and too many cylinders to count. In 2007, this car was $92,000 brand new. In today's money, that's about $148,000. This car, as it is affectionately known as the Recession Mobile, got its name for a few good reasons. Today with me is the 2007 Audi S8 D3, and it's not just any S8, it's my S8. There's something that really excites me when I drive a six-figure luxury barge that I have no right to be driving at my age. As I mentioned earlier in the video, depreciation is a four-letter word. And what do I mean by that? Well, the people who end up buying these cars take the brunt of the value drop of these vehicles. The MSRP of this vehicle was $92,000. What's the reason for buying an old German flagship when you can get a lot of the same technology in the newer vehicles? Well, for starters, where else are you going to be getting a V10? The only other options you have are extremely rare and expensive vehicles that are going to cost thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a year, if not monthly, to maintain. Now, I'm not going to go around repeating the same thing everyone says about this engine because it is not the Gallardo engine. It is not the R8 engine. What it is the base that those cars ended up using to create their own version of the 5.2 liter V10. And what that means is you'll oftentimes have people calling this the gentleman's R8. And while those comparisons are in essence correct, I think the way you have to evaluate this car more in what it offers you as a daily. What this car is giving you is over 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 5 seats, and when you take those specs into consideration, for the price that I paid for this car, what else can you get for that kind of money? Now, all in all, transparency here, I bought this at auction for about $2,000. It was more like $1,800, but then with fees and so on and so forth, came out to about $2,000. Then, from that point, I had to tow it not only home, but to the dealership to get a new battery as well as a key coded. Well, each of those trips were about $240, plus the round trip back, so that was another $240. So all in all, I'm sitting at about $750 in tows just to get this thing moving. Now, while I didn't pay the dealership to do anything in labor outside of the key, with parts and everything I've installed, I would say I'm in the car about $5,500 to $6,500. That's with new tires, a second set of wheels, spark plugs, coil packs, coolant, valve cover gaskets, and other bits and bobs here and there. And so, for $5,500, what else can you get for all the features that I mentioned? Heated seats, reverse camera, parking distance sensors, navigation, a 6 CD changer, and an absolutely screaming V10. This car's torque curve is actually really strong, and you can use all 7,000 RPM to get this car moving. Brand new, this car had a 0 to 60 time of about 5.2 seconds. And while technically the slowest and heaviest of its rivals, it was certainly the most exciting and most exhilarating 5 seconds to get to 60. And when taking those rivals into comparison, that's when things start to get interesting. Now, being a BMW guy, of course I want BMW to win, but the E60 M5 is one of the least reliable BMWs known to man. At the same time, Mercedes really only had a V12, and that was a twin turbo one at that. So you had the choice of either two naturally aspirated V10s or a twin turbo V12. At the same time, you could get a naturally aspirated V8 and the E65 750, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best comparison because that would stack up more with the long wheelbase A8. So taking all those factors into consideration, the E60 M5, which is widely considered the most emotion-filled, the most exhilarating and raw BMW experience, the V12 in multiple flavors in the S-Class, the CLK, the CL600, and multiple other platforms, giving you a more luxurious package. Where does the Audi stack up in that? And that's something that I've been trying to figure out for quite some time, not only in this vehicle, but in Audi's lineup as a whole. This car and the Audi TT marked a true shift in the design language to this more Bauhaus, simple, clean design language. And in truth, there's been very few Audis that I've ever really expressed interest in. I understand that the RS and S models have a more rear-wheel biased Quattro system, but even then, having all-wheel drive will suck the fun out of anything. Take my X-Drive 4 Series, for example. It's nowhere near as tail-happy as a rear-wheel drive version, but it's safe. And it's on that precipice in safety and over-engineering where I think Audi excels over its German brethren. Now, I spent the last 2 weeks in Germany, and if there was one thing I learned from them, it's that they love simplicity through complexity. And I think many of Audi's lineup, Volkswagen's Phaeton, and this car in particular, exhibit that idea to a T. Anything and everything you could think of is in here and more. There are so many small features hidden around the MMI system. BMW might have introduced iDrive as a revolutionary way to interact with your vehicle, but I think Audi perfected it here. 20 years later, and this system is extremely snappy and responsive. And so then, if I have a well-handling, very comfortable, and well-behaved car, what am I missing? And that, my dear friends, is the whole reason why I'm making this video. And now, after 8 months of ownership, I can say that I do like the car. I've appreciated what it's had to offer me. I like the package, but I just don't love it. It's missing that oomph, that visceral feeling that BMW just seems to have in its DNA. Audi has to engineer it, whereas with BMW, it comes from the heart. So while this is the first time that you're seeing it, it may be the last. So in a world where cars are becoming more expensive, both used and new, the depreciated luxury barge still remains undefeated in price for value, performance, and overall experience. And so, in summary, what do I think about my 2007 Audi S8? Audi hasn't really been on my radar for quite some time. Never been something I've considered as a car I wanted to own, but this car in particular has always been on my radar. Whether it be in the V10 or W12 flavors, there was something about the D3 body style that always attracted. When I picked up this car in August of 2024, it came to me as a paperweight. Dead battery, no key fob, aired out suspension, and rats that had chewed through multiple lines in the engine bay. And here we are today, a running, driving, and absolutely comfortable Autobahn cruiser that I just don't love. And whether it be because the styling is just too simple or the interior is too clinical, what I do know, however, is that I will absolutely appreciate the time that we had together. And while I lovingly called it Project Satan, in reality, it's not all that bad. Every job that I did on this car made me appreciate it more and more, but at the same time, dislike working on Audis. And it's for that reason that I don't want this to be rotting away in my fleet when it could be in the hands of someone who's going to appreciate this more than I can. And with that, thank you all so much for watching and sticking till the end here with me. Be sure that you're subscribed so that you're always up to date on our current and upcoming projects. And until next time, thank you so much for watching Eurofever Garage. See you next time.